Here.
Gwaltney, here. Allamon,
We could share this.
Smith,
Here.
and Harden. You got three.
All right, great. Welcome, everybody. The first item we have is approving the minutes from the July 22nd Finance Committee meeting. Do we have a motion to dispense with those and approve them as distributed?
So moved.
Second.
Okay, it's moved by Mrs. Smith. And a lot of these are going to be the same. Second by Mr. Gwaltney. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that's 3-0. We have a lot of items under old business, 200623, request for consideration of city manager. As we know, we have a special called meeting tonight at 6, and so I thought we would kind of go through what is required, what resolutions are required. These were distributed about a week and a half ago. We have those copied if you need to see that. But if, can you?
I was going to get my files, so I left it in there.
Oh,
But
okay.
I can speak to it. Well, go ahead.
All right, so lots of, do you want to take that?
Sure.
Okay. So take us through what we're going to need to recommend resolutions to make this happen. We're all on the same page in terms of, we got the number of signatures to Jefferson County, and so we're wanting to set the election. We're all on the same page with that, but if you can walk us through the logistics of what needs to occur.
You got the first page there.
Yeah. Yes, I do.
Okay, we need to.
That's okay.
You want me to read it?
No, I can tell you. The first resolution is a resolution required by 1143A of the Code of Alabama. It requires the council to determine the composition of the council based on the city, if the city manager election is successful or approved. And so it spells out the sample ballot question. That's required by a resolution under the 1143A 1.1.
God, look at you.
Okay? And I gave you a copy of the code section that requires that. It says the question on the ballot shall include the composition of the mayor and the council should the council manager form of government be adopted. So this resolution, based on that requirements, this sets out the ballot question.
Okay.
The ballot question is, shall the council manager form of government as provided by the Council Manager Act of 1982 be adopted for the city of Homewood, consisting of 5 members as follows. 1 member shall be the mayor elected at large, who shall be a voting member of the council, and 4 members shall be council members elected from single member district or ward.
Do we have to say in that the mayor is also the president, or is that not important?
No, that's set out by state code.
Okay, that's just part of the code.
That's
Okay.
correct.
Gotcha.
All right.
Okay.
So if it's okay, if we can do these one at a time.
Yeah.
You'll
that-
need to do them separately.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
Okay. All right, so there's, so.
I would make a motion that we approve, the ballot question for the organization of the council manager form of government as presented by Mr. Kendrick.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mrs. Smith, second by Mr. Gwaltney. Any questions on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's 3-0. Okay, and there's your memo if you need to look at that.
No, I got it.
You got it?
Number
Okay.
2 is an ordinance that really calls a special election. There's some redundancy in the resolutions required by section 4311 1.1. This is a much more expansive. It sets out, again, the ballot question, which I just read to you, but it also provides for the election of the absentee manager, which typically has been the city clerk in the past. It also provides for the times of the election, the locations of the polling places, the fact that we'll require the voting machines from the county since we don't own those. Sets out that we have to appoint election officials to hold the election at least 15 days prior to the election. Sets out that the election is previously noticed by the mayors on September 24th, 2024. All special elections for municipalities have to be held on the 2nd or 4th Tuesday of the month. That's the date that the election officials at Jefferson County has authorized that they can provide machines for us. After that, they said it'd be after the first of the year. So
Right.
we also have to have an instruction The mayor has certain duties, that he has to provide the voting list of the poll workers prior to the election. All these things are set out in standard provisions in the state code for any elections held in Alabama.
So does the motion for this one need to require us saying that Bo, as acting city clerk, would be appointed as the election manager?
There's a subsequent one for that.
Okay,
But
okay.
it spells out that you have the authority to do that.
Okay, okay, so we don't have to do it as part of this.
No,
This
ma'am.
is just to say we're
It
noticing
just
the
sets out the
election.
procedure for
Okay, okay.
holding the election required by the state code.
Okay, I would make a motion to approve, that.
A special election ordinance.
Special
Okay,
election
moved
on
by
September
Mrs. Smith, second by Mr. Gwaltney, and let the record reflect Mr. Harden is arrived. We're voting on the ordinance for the special election.
All right, the third,
Well, let us vote on this first.
Sure.
So, any other questions on this ordinance? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 4-0. Okay.
The third resolution is a resolution where you authorize the city clerk to retain the services of the Jefferson County election services to acquire the machines and supply the election equipment required to hold the election. Since we have to lease those from the county, and Bo has obtained a copy of the municipal election service agreement that the county requires that authorize the mayor to sign the agreement.
Okay. Any questions on that resolution?
That will require an expenditure of some
Yeah,
amount.
do we know how much that is?
No, well, yeah, we do, 11,000, it's in the agreement I sent you, $11,027.25.
Okay, all right, all right.
That's just for the.
For the machines.
Yes, and the equipment to hold the election
Okay,
that they'll provide.
okay,
Motion for approval.
second.
Okay. Mr. Gwaltney made the motion. Mrs. Smith seconded that motion for the resolution for the city clerk election services. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's 4-0. That passes.
After you adopted this resolution, the next resolution would be number 4. It identifies the election equipment supplied by Jefferson County as the official election vote counting systems for the Homewood election. And the state law requires we have to file this with that notification with the Secretary of State. This resolution just authorizes the filing of the resolution designating the equipment we would get from the county as the vote counting systems that we would use for our election. It's required by the Chapter 7 of Title 17 of the Code of Alabama.
Okay.
I would make a motion to approve that resolution.
Second.
Mrs. Smith made the motion. Mr. Harden seconded that motion for that resolution for the election equipment. Any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That passes 4-0.
The Exhibit 5 that I sent you is just a cover letter transmitting the resolution you just authorized to be sent by me to the Secretary of State as required by Section 17.721 of the Code of Alabama. All right, 6 is a resolution where you would appoint the election officials when and if Bo gets those identified. We're not there yet, but it's something that we will have to do as soon as he has completed the election officials as designated. It's in the original resolution calling the election, we designate what officials we have to have. So there's nothing to do on that tonight, but it will come up as soon as he gets the list complete. with his
Okay, so
officials.
we'll be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Keep this in committee until we get that.
Resolution 17 is a resolution that sets forth the compensation for absentee election manager pursuant to Alabama Code 1711-14. In the past, we previously have designated, because these are additional services, the city clerk is the absentee election manager, and you pay him a sum in addition to his other compensation of at least not less than $50 per day. That's what the state code says. You can pay more, but you can't pay him less.
What has been our customary?
I think it's $50. I really don't remember, to be honest with you.
Okay.
That's not something you have to do tonight, but you will, if you want to designate him for that compensation, you have to do that at some point before the election.
I mean, can we go ahead and do it? Ron?
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, do we
Yeah.
want to? I mean, yes.
I think
Go ahead.
so,
Okay.
yeah.
So, I guess my motion would be to appoint Bo Segrist as the absentee election manager and designate him to receive
$50.
compensation no less than $50 a day
But it has, is it $50 a day?
Oh, okay.
$50 a day.
$50 a day.
The state code that I sent you, 171114, says that compensation shall be at least $50 per day.
Okay. Okay, then we'll designate that as $50 a day.
Second.
Okay. Moved by Ms. Smith, second by Mr. Gwaltney. On that resolution. Any other questions on that? Hearing none,
Is
all in
that-
favor, say aye.
Okay.
Aye. Any opposed? Did you have a question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, is that, we've gone through this before. His job is during the day of the election. What are the other times that
He does that literally every day. Absentee people
Oh,
come
yeah,
and vote
okay.
absentee ballots at any time.
Yeah, okay.
Starting
Is
as
he
soon as we
working?
get the election, absentee ballot supplies, which he is in the process has ordered them, I think.
Okay.
Certainly, we will after you adopt the resolution that specifies the ballot, because the ballots have to be printed based on the language that you've authorized in the first resolution.
Yeah, right.
All right, so that passed 4-0.
So it won't just be election day, it'll be every
Right,
day
right.
after we receive election that anybody wants to come in and vote absentee ballot.
Okay?
That's the last thing.
That's the last thing. So
Yeah.
we voted on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 resolutions and an ordinance.
Correct. And you'll have another resolution as soon as the election officials have been identified.
I thought it was 4 resolutions and an ordinance.
2, 3. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's 4 and an ordinance.
4 resolutions
5
and
total.
one ordinance.
Yeah.
Yeah, the 5th one we'll do later. Okay. Okay. Mr. White, I expect you to keep this straight when we go to.
We'll have
go
it
to the
straight so
meeting
you
at
get out there to
6.
vote.
Yeah, so we're gonna be clear with this. Okay, anything else on that? So we'll carry this item over for the additional resolutions that could be required, but we're moving along here. Okay, going under new business, 050724, request to authorize the mayor to sign new uniform supplier contract with Centos. That was sent out last week. And Councilor Alamon is here, if you can note that. Are there any questions on that? This is budgeted, so it's really just authorizing the mayor to sign that contract with Centos. There, any questions on that?
I cannot find my, can you just remind me what it is? I can't remember.
And
I
Bo
knew- I
has
know you
copies
sent
of
it, but-
everything if we need.
What was the cost of the previous contract, or the budgeted amount for it? Do we know?
The contract, I'm the one I asked.
Yeah.
The contract is gonna go under a new government pricing, which will cut our bill about 40%
Oh,
over
wow.
all the whole year. So it's,
There
doing
you go.
digging into our billing, I started questioning why is this? They said, well, we have a contract, a government contract, well, that's what we need to be under.
Yeah.
So that's why we're going to a new contract.
Gotcha.
It'll save money.
It's basically replacing the old contract so that y'all can be under that special classification. Excellent. Okay, I would make a motion to approve that
Second.
contract, the mayor's sign.
Okay, it has been moved by Mrs. Smith, second by Mr. Gwaltney, to sign the new uniform supplier contract. Any other questions on that? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? That's 5-0, that passes. And Mr. Kendrick, do you have a copy
I
of?
don't, but I did.
Okay, if you'll forward that to him. I thought we'd copied him
Thank you.
on that contract.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, 060724, request for consideration of FY 23-24 budget amendments coming to us from Mrs. Wright, the library director. And then we also have Kale, who we added an item there for, so what, let's see, the request from the library is to move 25,000 into building maintenance. And this is for different things within the within the parking lot. So I had shared the fact that I don't like speed humps, obviously. I never have liked speed humps, but these are speed bumps. They're not, they're the lesser cost, but that would include the speed bumps. And my question was really, and this is not public safety, maybe this needed to go to public safety. But I just always like to look at, I'm okay with the transfer, but just looking at other alternatives to putting speed bumps all over the library. I don't like them. So I
Yeah.
just wanted to ask the question, have we looked at alternatives? Maybe a sign. We don't
Could-
have a sign.
Could we start with signage first and see if that makes a difference? Because I will say this, from my perspective, and I do see people do this a lot. I see people cut off Oxmoor Road, and I can tell exactly what they're doing. They're trying to avoid the traffic at the light or whatever, and they cut through the library parking lot, which I get. But if you come in from the Mayfair side trying to skip that light, because a lot of people do that too, because that light, for whatever reason, stays red a really long time. Even if there's speed bumps on the main straightaway, the first thing they're gonna do is turn and go through the parking lot and around the back of the parking lot. And to me, that's even more dangerous, because then there's people getting out of their cars with their kids to walk to the library, and people are cutting through the main part of the parking lot to skirt around that. Now, they're probably gonna hit the speed bumps up at the front part, but that doesn't stop them from scooting through the big part of the parking lot. It just keeps them off the straightaway, because there are other ways to, when we know, people will find a way to get around them if they can.
That's not where they're all gonna go though. The thought was to put them in front of the handicap spaces and the door entrances as well. So where you're talking about off of Bridge, that straight line, I see that one, but the main part is also in front of the doors.
Okay. I just wondered if we started with some no through traffic signs.
When I turn off Oxmoor, where are you talking about?
So when you turn off Oxmoor, we've got 2 handicap spaces right there. The
Right.
goal was to put them right there, before you turn to the book drop.
Yes.
And then as you swing into the back parking lot, we've got additional handicap spaces, so some would go there, and then some would go right before the entrance. And there was the discussion to put some where she's talking about as well, but the main concern we're having is right in front of the handicap spaces and the front doors.
Meaning that if I'm handicapped and I'm getting out of my car, you want cars to slow down right there.
Yes, I got multiple complaints back to back, not from people speeding, but from people almost getting hit.
Yeah.
I mean, is there do we think that it's worth trying some signage, like no through traffic or no whatever, some variation of that sign
We
as
ticketed
a
if
first
you-
step?
Is it through traffic or is it just everybody?
It's everybody.
But I mean, that's what I'm saying, like, it's people cutting through, so.
Not necessarily, because if you're going by the front door, it's not cut through.
Oh, you're saying like, it could be people who are literally coming to the library
Yes.
and are just,
Because they take those turns pretty fast.
yeah.
Well,
They never go to the library again.
my thought was
I'm just
to
kidding,
my
just
thought was
kidding, of
just to
course. I love
look
the
at
library.
we do that with every street. We don't just say, well, it's, we need speed humps here. I mean, our procedure has always been to look at alternatives. Cale, do you have any thoughts here? I mean, you provided her cost and information and for the speed
Not
humps,
cost.
or,
This was a library board decision, right,
Yes.
that came to me last week.
To get some pricing.
Yeah, well, no, to get some feedback on locations and spacing.
Got it.
For speed bumps, and I provided that. I don't know that signs are gonna solve the problem that they have. I'm
Right.
not sure that anything except speed bumps would solve the problem. And we haven't installed any speed bumps in the 3.5 years that I've been.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to understand, I pull into the handicap space on the right, I get out and I go on that sidewalk and I walk up to up there. How am I being affected by the cars coming behind me?
If somebody has stuff coming out, and also if strollers are coming out too, that's also the concern. So we have,
You're really concerned about people coming out of the library door
Yes.
and going to their cars in that parking lot. You got people coming off Oxmoor going straight either to the back of the parking lot or
To cut through.
as Barry says, cutting through.
I mean, I see people do
I mean, you can't solve the cut-through problem by cutting off, don't get rid of the ridge access point. That, you don't wanna do that.
No, we can't do that.
I know, I'm just saying.
Yeah, yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
Solve that problem.
Well,
Yeah.
that's an example of just looking at some type of alternative and not just throwing in the towel and say, speed humps. I mean, you know, that might be an option. I mean, to limit some type of access on the back. I mean, I'm just saying, I don't think we've exhausted, but with every other public safety item that we've done, we've looked at all types of alternatives.
Well, does this need
Road
to go to
diets,
public
all this
safety?
kind of stuff.
I mean, this is really a public safety.
I would
item.
rather send it to public
So
safety.
this is a
but-
very, like, the speed bumps is actually an extremely minor amount of the transfer request.
Yes.
Because most of the transfer is to add additional ADA compliance spaces along with family spaces and a few other things as well, like.
Yeah, we're off, I don't
Can
have
we
any issue
pull-
with that.
can we
It's just-
Can we- yeah,
pull them
pull up-
apart and just say that we'll hold on the speed bumps piece of it, but then approve the
The
rest of it?
Well, and send that, because I do feel like the
I think
speed
the
humps,
ADA
that
thing
always goes
and
to.
the ADA stuff needs to happen
Yeah,
regardless.
yeah, no, that's gotta happen by
And
law,
so
yeah.
I don't wanna slow that down at all.
Right, right, right.
And I assume the ADA is in the back, right?
It's, yes.
'Cause the
that's what
front looks like it was-
We have the required number of mount, we
Okay.
just need additional ones, they're
Gotcha.
in use constantly.
Yeah, cause I was looking at the
they're
front on
used a
Street
lot.
So you're
View,
not,
just
we're
to
not,
kinda
we're not
see
gonna
these
look at
brand new.
chicanes at
Yeah.
this point.
Yeah, they
Right.
I mean,
What's
So
some of
what's the
those
amount minus
hay
the,
things out there?
Speed humps, speed bumps, Is that about-
22,000.
22,000.
Yeah, and personally,
Judith,
I don't
I would
see.
tell you, go ahead.
I understand the dislike of speed bumps on city streets because of the precedent that it sets. On a piece of like city property
Library,
where
parking.
it's basically a business, essentially, I don't personally see the problem there to control speed in the parking lot.
But
Cause
does it
I
need
too
to-
have been through there and
Does it need to go to you?
if you would like
Don't,
to send it to
well,
public
well,
safety, you're welcome
don't,
to.
don't they usually come to public, I mean,
They
don't,
probably-
they
something like
usually
that would,
come,
yes.
yes, they usually come to
Um,
public safety.
What I'm saying is, are we splitting hairs with it being a business property, so it's our business technically, or the city's business, but
Well, it's our, I mean, we own it.
I don't see the
So
drawback.
we have
But-
purview over it, so I'm just
I
trying
agree.
to,
Mhm.
yeah, but I,
Just
no,
give
I
me my 2
I
cents.
understand.
I'm not sure this would work, but in around our streets, in particular at one intersection, there's a bunch of kids. So they put these cute signs out there saying, slow down turbo or something. Tommy, I mean, you know, they've
I'm
got
not sure
these.
that's gonna-
They've got.
John.
Huh?
I think that encourages some people.
It-
Encourages people. No, I'm gonna go
You know,
faster.
No, but I mean, we got
It really,
families
when
getting
you
out
read
of
the
the
sign,
car,
you go.
slow
yeah.
down, families.
Yeah, I mean, you know, anyway, they're cute little orange signs that sit there and, you know, I mean, I don't know, anyway.
Well, however, the committee, you know, I've stated my opinion about it.
I recommend we send this to public safety.
Well,
Send-
Well,
just
yeah,
send-
yeah, yeah, yeah.
send
I'd
that
like to
part.
make a motion where we approve 22,000 to get everything done and then parse out the speed hump conversation and send that piece of it to public safety so we can get the 22,000 work done.
And I'll second that motion.
Very good.
Okay.
Third.
Moved by Counselor Online. Did you say?
Thank
No,
you.
he seconded.
Oh, okay.
Andy seconded.
Mr.
Counselor Harding,
Waltman
we appreciate your
seconded that,
service.
okay.
Library liaison.
Okay. Oh, and by the way, Kale has $10,000 that's going to engineering services. So can you add that to your motion?
I'd love to add that to the motion.
That's part of
10,000
it.
engineering
And that-
services.
and that-
Traffic engineering.
That's from traffic
Yeah,
engineering
sorry.
to engineering services, 10,000.
Thank you.
So I forgot about that,
Thank you,
okay.
Sir.
Do you accept that second?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Second.
So
Okay,
can I make sure I
perfect.
understand the matter, please? Is the budget transfer 22,000 now, that's all real
Yeah.
quick? This other traffic engineering is not part of this request?
Well, we were gonna try to have it in one resolution.
Does it
Is
need to
the
be
transfer.
separate?
Good stuff.
Okay.
Can't put it in there until I know about it.
Okay, so we need to get that to Mr. Kendrick, and for that, we need to copy him on this stuff. Okay, it's been motioned, seconded. Any other questions? I don't wanna confuse you even more. Okay, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's 5-0, that passes. Okay, 090724, request authorize the mayor to sign supplemental agreement with ALDOT for Central Avenue TAP project. Mr. Smith.
Yeah, so
That
you have
was
that
sent
in the
out as
front.
well.
original agreement with ALDOT, the project started there, and we decided to come down to the existing crosswalk, in front of the battery, across Central. And so that project will now come all the way down to that. And so it's only adding a few hundred feet of
Okay.
the project.
Just amend, we have to amend the agreement.
They wanted to, yeah, they wanted to amend the agreement.
Okay.
Is it an 80-20 split that there's cost to us?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
100% us, reimbursement.
But there's a budget, right? So
Right.
it's a $1 million grant. Yeah, so the idea is that we can do this project and still stay below that.
Okay.
All right, I would make a motion to approve amending the contract to, add the additional.
Second.
We got this, Counselor Allen seconded that, Counselor Smith made the motion. Any other questions? All right, hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's 5-0, that passes. All right, that's all we have for finance, so without objection, we're adjourned.